Hi, thank you for watching my video today. I am Sherry Aschenbrenner. I am the sponsor for parkbench.com in the Puyallup area, and I am here today with David Pozolinski. How are you today, David?
I'm doing well today.
Good.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. So David is the director of A Step Ahead in Pierce County. So we're going to kind of find out a little more about that today. So let's start off with just what is A Step Ahead? What is that program?
So A Step Ahead is, it used to be referred to as early intervention, but we're really moving toward more early supports for infants and toddlers, which is ESIT, which there's tons of acronyms, of course, but that is the state agency. And so we basically see kids birth to three.
Firsthand the impact that you guys have, because I do have two little ones who have gone through the program themselves. My daughter is 4, my son is about to turn 3. So I know that you guys do great things. What kind of services do you offer through the program?
So we provide, we have speech and OTs, PTs, we have vision, and also we have a whole team of educators. And that's one of the things that sets us apart from some of the other agencies, is that we have such a large team. I believe we're at about 18 teachers now. But those are the basic services we provide. We also provide sort of ancillary services like field trips throughout. We do that mainly in the summertime, and throughout the year we do them at the YMCA, Kaleidoscope, various places in the community. Mm-hmm. And so we also have play groups, and we have a classroom in Spanaway that we use for play groups, and that's so great for socialization with the kids and also the caregivers. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've taken part in some of the play groups, but we found that just helps families to connect.
It is. I think that the special thing about the program in general is that we get support, so much support through not just like the teachers and the instructors and stuff, but it's a community. And yes, I've done the ones in Spanaway, and my son just ran around and played the whole time, and he loved that. So it is a nonprofit, correct? Yes. So where do you guys primarily get like the funding to be able to do this for the children?
Our main funding, we're contracted with Pierce County.
Okay.
And so our funding, a good chunk of it comes from Pierce County. And we also receive some funds, from the state, federal level, and we do some fundraising throughout the year. That's a small portion, but we do receive that through fundraising. So basically, Pierce County is a big funder of ours, and we also have private donors too.
Great. So you mentioned that the teachers kind of are what sets you ahead. Do you feel like there's anything else that kind of sets you ahead from other maybe early intervention things in the community?
Yeah, I think one of the other things is that our agency hosts students. So we work with UW, PLU, we work with various universities, Green River Community College, and we bring students in, and it really helps because, for one, in many of these programs, and having been trained as a speech therapy therapist, a therapy assistant myself, you don't learn about this age group very much in a lot of these programs. Mm-hmm. And so we really kind of took it upon ourselves to kind of help kind of beef that up a little bit. And so for the past probably at least 8-9 years, we have really started taking in more students and to teach them about this age group, because this is such an important age group, birth to 3. So much happens. I previously worked, before I came here, with a lot of kiddos, teens and tweens, which was wonderful. But there's a certain point where a lot of these kiddos kind of plateau, mm-hmm. and you're where you're at with them.
Yeah.
And I started to see that, boy, we could have gotten some of these kids early on. Mm-hmm. That early support is just so important. So
it is.
Yeah. So I think one of the, kind of going back to your question, I think it's that large teaching team, and also it's taking on those students. And sometimes we are able to bring them on and hire them full time with A Step Ahead. Yeah. We have several students that we have worked with in the past that are now employees.
Yeah, I love that. So what areas does A Step Ahead Pierce County serve? Just Pierce County?
Yes, we're only in Pierce County. And so we work with the school districts. We're not contracted with the school districts, but we basically work in the districts of Franklin Pierce, Bethel, Ording, Eatonville, and Puyallup. So there's kind of 5 school districts that we work within. So it's a pretty big area.
Why did you decide that A Step Ahead was where you wanted to be?
Well, I knew a few people that worked here for one, so that was kind of introduction to me. But I really wanted to work with the younger kids. As I mentioned, I worked with older kids for a long time,
Mhm.
and I saw how important this age group was, and I just really liked. I know that A Step Ahead. The person that started it, Candy Watkins, she was the founder, and she retired about 4 years ago. She was the last director, and she really wanted a place, that we could collaborate and support the community as well as the families that we serve. And so that's what I really liked about it, is that collaboration.
Mhm.
We do so much collaboration here. Because it's really important when you have a speech person in there. Sometimes if the child is having some challenges with swallowing, you need an OT in
Mhm.
there to help positioning. And so it's really important not to just have one discipline in at a time, but to be able to have the flexibility to offer more, services together.
Yes, I know
So
with my son especially, both of my young children were diagnosed at a very young age with autism. He is very sensory seeking
right.
and movement based, so it was nice to have that combination of the OT and the speech because we needed to find ways to get the like sensory part out of him so that he can focus on the speech.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I love that I don't think I would have been where I am with the knowledge that I have of my second child, especially if it hadn't been for going through the program with my first. I feel like I've learned so much about just children,
hmm
or early intervention, and just it helped me see the signs in my second son to kind of get that.
Right, and even when you came back to the program with your second son, did you still feel like it was sort of almost like starting brand new again? I don't know. I know sometimes we have families that, I mean, we do see new families and we work with them because it's their first child. But
Mm-hmm.
even if it's your second or third child, every child's
Every
different.
child's different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I knew parts, but the things that set him apart from her were so different. And so
hmm
I wanted to be like, but she did this. But you can't do that because everything was just, they're different. They're different
Right.
humans for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of like story that you feel like is just like really touched your heart in this that
I
you want to
do.
share?
Yeah. And when I do talks in the community, I usually I like to bring this story up because when probably my first year or two I was here, an OT had started seeing this child in a daycare area. I think it was a daycare kind of school, and he was probably, I don't know, 1.5 maybe. And so she went in there and she was helping him. He was having challenge. He had some brain challenges with from birth, and
Mm-hmm.
so she was helping him with movement and just wanting to walk. And they said he would never walk, and they kept telling her, well, he's never going to say anything. He's never going to talk or communicate. And so she started working with him, and she came back and she said, I think he needs a speech therapist in there because I think he's gonna. Who know? We didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in there. I started working with him, and they kept saying he's never going to walk. He's never going to talk. And he started to move. He started to walk with assistance. So he was using a walker. And after a while, he did start to talk, start to say some words. We were consistent. We're working
Mm-hmm.
with him. And sort of fast forward, so I worked with him for quite a while. And so he had graduated and he had come back, and I still have the video. And I was not, I was on vacation, I think, the week, but his dad and him came to the office here, and he filmed him running down the hallway, asking that he wanted to play with David. And it was just,
It's touching.
it was pretty, but it was a case in point where these kids they can make so much progress, and you can never assume.
Yeah.
Never assume. They thought he would never talk, he would never walk, and I'm still friends on Facebook with this family.
Yeah.
I think he's probably about 10 or 11 now.
He just needs somebody to believe in him.
Yes.
Give him a chance.
And you'd never think that he had these challenges when he was young. Yeah. That is the key.
So there's probably people here on that I'm hoping are considering maybe checking this program out and being a part of it. What advice would you give those parents?
Call. And two, don't be afraid. You can self-refer. In fact, most of our kiddos are referred by the caregivers or families. You can also have a pediatrician. We have also daycares that refer kids too. So, give us a call. And even if you just have an inkling that maybe something isn't developing right, or give us a call, we can evaluate. If they don't qualify, then great. Then they're doing better. And, so, but if they do, get them in. It's really important. We do see a lot of kiddos that come in like at 33 months, and it's great. They're in, but we always think, we're like, oh, if we only had enough, like if they were in here a year before, or like, what is the sense that what spurred you to?
I think I went through Mary Bridge, actually, pediatric, like the children's one there, and they recommended a birth to 3 program. So I got the consultation. We did like a phone one. Of course, my kids are both COVID babies, and so her entire thing was through a screen. So a lot of the times I feel like it's not only teaching the child, but it's teaching the parent the skills that you need at home. So it taught me how to get her to say words or to focus on things better. Or so I had those skills with my second son. I kind of knew what to look for. But...
And that's one of the other things you had mentioned, like teaching the parents too. And that's one thing we use as a parent coaching model. And there are formal models. And we use Rush and Sheldon. They're a pair that have created one that is used a lot in the state of Washington. And so it's kind of what we've always done, but it's a little bit more formal. And so it's using more open-ended questions to help you, more as a parent to help your child. We're only there once a week.
Exactly. So you're there for an hour once a week, but I'm there all the time. So it's like they're going to learn the most from me. So I need to have those skills too. So I really liked that. How can people give back to A Step Ahead and kind of like help out?
Yeah, well, first you could go to our website. Everything is pretty much there at A Step Ahead, and it has all of our events, activities, field trips, and you can donate there. It has all the options for, our auction. We have an annual auction. We also have a fun run that we started a couple of years ago that we do in the fall. We do have a program that I didn't want to mention too. I'd forgotten. Boost. I don't know if you're familiar with Boost, but it is a program that is completely grant funded. So it's a part of A Step Ahead, but still separate because it's all grant funded. It's run by one person, and we have 25 kiddos in the program. It's just for foster kiddos that don't quite qualify for services yet. So we're keeping an eye on them so they don't fall through the cracks. And if she does kind of think maybe there is something that might need some assistance, then she brings them over to be evaluated, and we'll bring them into the program. So, but that's the other thing. We have a Boost breakfast, but you can simply just donate on our website. It's pretty easy just to donate. We at this point we don't have a lot of volunteer opportunities. However, we do have a holiday giving program we do this time of year that we help out 25 families, and we provide like therapeutic equipment if they need for their families and things. So, so we do need volunteers for that, like volunteer shoppers. Things. So you can always go on our website and see about that, and volunteers for our auction, things like that. So we do have some volunteer opportunities for that.
Okay. Yeah, I think that this time of year, a lot of people are looking for ways to give back and ways to find charities. And this is one that I think is really special that a lot of people just don't know about. So what is the vision of the future? What do you see A Step Ahead doing in the future? You have anything coming up?
Yeah, well, we really want to continue to expand. When I started 11 years ago, we had 18 people, and we're almost at 60 now on staff. So which is really cool. We're looking down the road. I know in the future, our 3 to 5 year plan, we're looking at our own building.
Okay.
Right now we are, we're leasing a space, but we would like our own building to have our own play area for classrooms and things like that. We're also looking at creating some groups for like feeding for kids. Grandparent groups, we're seeing a real increase in grandparents adopting or just taking care of perhaps their children's children.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at maybe some support groups that way too,
Yeah.
and just continuing to expand our therapists and teaching base.
So where can people get information? Do you guys have Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, and our website is just that's probably up.
And it's ASAPC.org.
Right. So,
Is there anything else that you want to say or you feel like is necessary or want people to know about here?
No, just that even though we've grown to 60, I really feel we're still a big family here, and we still all have the same vision and mission of helping families and kiddos where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
And especially at this age, it's all up to family.
Yeah,
it's all.
I think you could feel that. Like I was telling you earlier, my son's last appointment was last week, and we had cupcakes, we had pizza, and they just were like, hugged us and left and said, I'm going to miss you, because they've been in our home every week for years. So I think that you guys do a great job with who you hire. Shout out to Chandra and Katie.
And it is. We are really. I know all of us are very humbled, because here we are going into your home.
Yeah.
You're inviting us into your home, and so we understand that, and that's always top of awareness for us.
Yeah.
We know we're in your space.
Yeah,
so,
that's where our kids will thrive.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you being here, giving information, and I hope that people reach out.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
This
thank
has been
you.
fun.